Good morning to you. It's Friday morning. Unfortunately, I have just 2 nights left here on this beautiful island of Crete. You are probably getting as used to that view as I am. I'm gonna miss it, that's for sure. Anyway, it's actually lunchtime now. I got up this morning, went out here, sun was shining, jumped straight on it and smashed out a section of the book. I thought I'd share something with you of value that came out of that. And one of the sections I'm talking about is transitioning into the long game. So when we're younger, when we're kids, we play a very short game. You know, it's like, you know, one day to the next, one weekend to the next feels like an eternity. You know, it feels like an eon between Christmases and summer holidays. The older you get, the more you realize that time starts to compress, and actually time is not as vast as you thought it was. This brings with it a couple of realizations. Number one, that you need to fucking get on, right? You realize that it will run out. Time is finite, and it goes quicker than you ever thought it would, given your experiences as a younger person. The second thing is this: it's also your friend and your ally. It's a powerful ally in terms of if you leverage it properly and start playing a much longer game. In other words, I can now start to perceive and see over much larger, much longer time scales. So instead of just planning next week, next month, you know, this year, I can start to take action today and start putting plans in today that might not necessarily bear fruit until next year, the year after. You know, we're thinking maybe 5 years, 10 years ahead, because what comes with age is the wisdom of knowing that time will pass and it will get here. And if we don't do what we need to do now, if we don't make provisions now for that future, then we won't get the future that we otherwise could have done. So this is a wisdom that comes with age. If I could have instilled this in myself in my 20s or even my 30s, I would have been a lot further ahead. I always say, if you'd started what you're starting today 10 years ago, you'd probably already have it. If you started the health regime last year, you'd have it probably now, the health, the goal that you wanted. And if you had that amazing vision of your life, if you started this 20 years ago, so in my case, if I'd started this in my early 20s, for example, 25 years later, what could I have created now at 47? Oh my God, the mind boggles. If I'd known that back then, we'd all be millionaires. Anyway, the point of this is really simple. It's never too late to get that realization. If I can pass that on to my kids, I do try. They just don't have the perception of time that we have, and therefore it's very hard to really get that across. But I tell you now, if you can get that across into young people, wow, man, they're going to be super successful. But for us, it's still never too late to realize that life is a long game. Okay, your strategy should be a long game. However, understand that it will pass and you need to get a fucking move on, because before we know it, whether we like it or not, it will be over. Our time will be gone and there'll be no more tomorrows, next weeks, next months or next years. So I want to get on with it, number one. Number two, I'm playing a long game and you should too. Also, I'm going to jump down now and get on to a lunch. Then I'm going to head on down to the beach and smash out section number 2. Hope you're having an awesome one. I'll catch up with you in just a little bit. Okay, so here I am back up top. Did a good few hours down there, nailed an entire section. I want to share with you actually just a little bit that I did in the last section, which was one segment about goal setting, and specifically I was quoting statistics that came out of a business study that was done last year around the statistics of goal achievement. Now the bottom line is really simple. You're very likely not going to achieve your goals, okay? That's basically the upshot of this. The reason being actually is they've found there's certain things that need to be in place in order to give you a higher percentage chance of achieving those goals. Interestingly, they're all the things that we have in place and have always had in place at success groups, because we've known it ourselves anecdotally and just logically, common sense, and also just our whole experience with ourselves, that certain things need to be in place in order to give people the best chance of achieving those goals. So here's the thing: even if you have a goal, even if you commit yourself to do it, and even if you have a well thought out plan and strategy for achieving it, you've still only got a 50-50 chance, literally a 50% chance of achieving that goal. In order to give yourself a really good chance of achieving it, you have to commit to a third person, and you have to be willing to be held accountable, okay, against those goals. If you are willing to commit to a third person, you go from a 50% chance to 65% chance of achieving. Only 50%, but it's still 15%, okay? It tips it in your favor now. However, the accountability alone gives you 30% more chance of achieving your goal. It goes up to 95%. So you've got to have a goal. You've got to have a time scale on that goal. You've got to commit yourself to that goal. You've got to have a plan and strategy for it. But you do need to commit outside of yourself to a third person or to a group. And you do need to be specifically held accountable. If you do, your chance of achieving your goals go up to 95%. This probably goes some way to explain why last year in success groups, we had 20,000 short, medium and long-term goals achieved in our club. It's an average of 266 goals per person last year that we achieved. Most people don't achieve any. So there you go. I thought it was an interesting stat. It lines up exactly what we've been doing in success groups and completely rings true for us. If you want to get your goal setting on track, I'll tell you what, we have a whole spine that runs through success groups and our extreme business growth masterminds, which is goal setting and accountability. Anyway, I will leave you with those thoughts. Set your goals, commit to other people, be willing to be held accountable. If you haven't got anyone who can serve you for that, who are you looking at, right? We've got a whole group of this going on right now. Anyway, I'll check in with you later. Wish you every success in achieving all that you go for. Make sure you move your life and your agenda forward today. Catch you in a bit.
3 hours later.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of the day, brings us to the end of the night actually. I am done, I am checking out. I've got just a little bit to do tomorrow on the main book, the introductions and the ending. And then I've got to do a quick read through, a little bit of an edit, and then it's done and ready to hand over. A job well done, almost. By the end of tomorrow, it will be. If I don't finish it all tomorrow, then I've still got the plane journey home, just to do that last little bit of a proofread and an edit on it before I hand it over. And it is birthed into the world. And yeah, watch this space. I will share it with you. So a bit of an accountability checking, just because it's a Friday. Have you done all you needed to do today and this week in order to keep yourself on track with your goals? If you did, and you're going to chill out this weekend, I hope you have an awesome one doing whatever it is that you do, and you rest, recuperate, and get yourself ready to smash the hell out of it next week. If you haven't, and you've fallen behind a little bit, or you got distracted, or you're doing a little bit of firefighting and got pulled off your agenda, then guess what? You've got the weekend to catch up, okay? So use the weekend, catch up. Don't get hung up on not working weekends or whether you do work weekends, whatever. It's about doing what you need to do in order to keep yourself on track to achieve your goals and get you, your business and your life where you want it to get to. If it means you've got to pick up a little bit of slack over the weekend, then you know what? Go for it. It's a small price to pay in order to stay on track to achieving your awesome goals. Anyway, I will catch up with you on Monday. I'll be back home then. I will share a little bit of my journey home, just because it adds a little bit of interest to the video. But apart from that, I will check in with you next week and we will do this all over again. Got a hectic week for a few days. They've got my kids for a little bit of half term. And then I'll tell you what, we have got a month, I'm going to say from hell, but it isn't. It's a crazy month. It's an intense month. It could be our biggest month in business ever in terms of sheer intensity. So much going on, so much to do, so much to get ready on. I'll share it with you every single step of the way. I'll check in with them. Have a good one. Be successful.